Welcome to the Prumihimo YouTube channel. Now I know that lots of people have been making beautiful face masks out of pretty fabrics, and what I'd like to show you in this video is how you can make the perfect addition to your face masks, and that is a lanyard that you can have around your neck to hold your clean mask in place and all ready for use, and how you can make it match your masks perfectly. So it makes a really wonderful present, or looks so nice if you're trying to match up with a particular outfit. So the way that the lanyard works is I've kept it as simple as possible, and I felt that a simple lanyard with little lobster clasps would work really well. So you can just clip on your clean mask, and then it's ready for use. When you've used your mask, you can easily unclip it and pop the used one into a bag or your pocket, and then put a clean one on, so that's ready for use. And then I've just finished them off with a little fluffy tassel. My aim was to keep the materials as simple as possible. And so what I've done is I've made my masks out of embroidery thread. So this is the sort of 6-strand thread that comes in hanks like this. And the reason I've chosen this is because of the huge colour range, the cheap price, and the availability of it. With that, you will also need a lobster clasp, and it can be pretty much any size. You want to aim for one that has got a big enough hole for you to get 6 of your cords through, or at least 4 at the very minimum. So you can get them in different sizes. You might have something like this as well. You don't really need something as heavy duty as that, but that would work just as well. So often it will depend on what you've got to hand. And you will also need bobbins, because this can be quite catchy, and you're going to be working on with long lengths of it. So this is actually going to be a 12 strand braid, so you need 12 bobbins. So let's see how it's made. Let's clear that lot away and see how it's made. So I'm going to get my tape measure in, and what you need is 12 strands, 12 threads, cords. I mean, obviously there's 6 in each individual one, of your embroidery thread, and they all need to be 150 centimeters, which is about 59-60. Let's call it 60 to make it straightforward. 60 inches, 150 centimeters, and you need 12 of those. Now, braids are different for every person, and it depends on the state of your disc and your own tension and the actual brand of the thread that you're using. So for that, you will probably get a lanyard that measures about 60 to 70 centimeters. Mine have measured, which is about 24 to 27 inches, and I found that a comfortable length. What you need to do is you do need to stiffen the ends, and I've just used a bit of clear nail varnish here, because you've got 6 strands in each one, and you're going to need to thread them through your lobster clasp. So take 6 of your strands, pop them through, and just pass the lobster clasp a bit further up your cords like that. Now, I recommend at this stage having your threads on bobbins. I'm using shorter lengths to make it easier to show what I'm doing, but you'll probably find that having your thread on bobbins is going to be easier to keep them under control. Now, approximately 10 centimeters from the end, and that's about 4 inches. So that's an approximate distance. You want to just tie an overhand knot. So that's the sort of knot where you make a loop and pass the ends through the loop like that and tighten it up. And you want that knot to be really neat. So if some of the strands are not sitting neatly, you can just pull gently on each individual strand to tighten that knot. Once you're happy with the knot, bring the lobster clasp close to it. And now we're going to put this on the Kumihimo disc with the lobster clasp hanging down. And what you need to do is spread your cords out evenly. I'm going to pop the tail in as well, so pop all those through the hole, and then spread your cords evenly around the disc. It doesn't really matter exactly which hole they're in, then you need to be evenly spread around the disc. Now there are lots of different patterns you can do with your cords, but this video is about the technique, not about the actual patterns. So I'm just sticking with a simple stripe. I'm going to put my blue ones there, my black ones there, and the green ones, light green ones there. And now you can see I've got my lobster clasp, the loop of it there. Now I'm going to do the ones on the other side. So I'm going to put black in the bottom. And I will probably film another video giving you a few ideas on how you can create really pretty patterns to match your fabric. So as I said before, I'm using 12 here. If you want a thicker braid, you can use 16. If you want a thinner one, you can use just 8. But I found 12 made a braid that was just the right size for what I wanted. And now what you're going to do is braid, and this is going to be round braid, also known as Kongo gumi, and that's quite simply the top down, bottom up, and turn. Now you might do bottom up first, top down, that's fine, whichever way, top right down, bottom up, and then turn your disc. And you can actually turn in either direction. I generally recommend turning in an anti-clockwise direction because that is what most patterns use. So it gets you into the habit of doing the same as what most patterns do, which is always useful. So all you do is braid now and continue to braid round. This is where you'll find your bobbins are very useful. Continue to braid until you have about just 15 centimetres or 6 inches of your cords left. So what you do then, so I've got my braid now, really nice braid there, and all I need is my lobster clasp. And what I need to do first is just make sure I know which the next cords to be used are. So I can see that this apricot coloured cord, this green coloured cord are they're the top cords. So I know the black ones are the next ones to be moved. So I'm just going to remember that. And now what I'm going to do is slip half of my cords through the ring on the other lobster clasp. And I do it one by one. So lift the cord, pass it through, and return the cord to its slot to keep the tension. And now I'm going to pick up the next one and do the same thing, pass through and put back in its slot. So there's cord number 3. And again, if you've stiffened those cords, they should be easy to get through. If your ring is so small that you can only get 4 through, that's fine. If you can get 6, which is half the cords through, then so much the better. So there we go. And now that's my 6th cord through. So now I'm going to push that down in the middle. It's quite a big one I'm using for demonstration purposes. Yours will probably slit down a bit easier than that. I'm tightening my cords and making sure that that clasp is really close to the point of braiding. And I've remembered that my black cords were the next ones to be moved, and I'm just going to continue braiding. And I'm going to braid with quite firm tension here, just to sort of pull the braid up and pull that clasp nice and close to the braid. And I just need to braid for a little bit further to secure the braid and stop it unraveling. So I probably want half a centimetre, quarter of a centimetre probably even, eighth of an inch, something like that. I just need a little bit of braid. So I'm just going to carry on quickly, get a bit more. But I'm going to finish off with a knot as well, so I don't need too much, just a small amount. I'll show you in a moment. Right, let's see what's going on underneath. Okay, so I can see I could just got a little bit of braid above that clasp, so I'm happy with that amount. What I'm going to do now is pinch that bit of braid to stop it unravelling and remove the braid from the disc like that. And now I'm still keeping a grip there, and I'm going to tie another, I'm smoothing out my cords, and I'm going to tie another overhand knot, and I want it as close as possible to my fingers. So I'm going to make the knot, bring all the cords through, and now as I tighten it I'm going to push so that it goes right next door to that clasp. So tightening and pushing, easing it down so the knot comes right next to the clasp. And again, you can pull it all together. If any of the threads are loose, sort of bulging out, you can just pull on each individual cord. So once you've reached this stage, what you want to achieve is a pretty ending for it. So what you need to do, there we go, this is what we're aiming for, a pretty ending. So what you need is a simple dressmaker's pin like that, and you need to trim your cords to the length that you're happy with, and that's up to you. So I think mine are about 1.5 inches, 2.5 to 3 centimetres, something like that. So I'm going to just cut through them there. And now what I want to do is just unravel these 6 strands a little bit so that they make a pretty fluffy little tassel. Now they're very slightly twisted, so what you need to do is just untwist them, and then with the head of the pin you can just pull them apart. And just take your time doing this so you get each one separated out. And then on to the next one. Do them one at a time. I'll do the paler one because it's probably easier to see. And I just need to untwist it first, but it's just a tiny bit of untwisting. And then just try and catch those threads and pull them apart like that. And continue for the rest of it until you have a pretty tassel. And that basically is how you make your lariat to match your beautiful handmade mask. And if you'd like to see other ideas that I have, topical things like mask lanyards, or more traditional things, techniques to do with Kumihimo on all the discs and the square plate, then please subscribe to the Prumihimo YouTube channel. Until next time, goodbye.